Welcome to another broadcast of the Debra Rufini Show on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past shows are archived. You can find them at ArtistFirst.com. And now, from England, here she is, your host, Debra Rufini.
Greetings from England. Welcome to the Debra Rufini Show. Today it is my great pleasure to be speaking with Maureen Sullivan, survivor of the Magdalene Laundries, which were institutions run by Catholic orders for, in inverted commas, fallen women. Maureen, great to have you with us. How are you?
Thank you. Great to be with you. Thanks.
Oh, your day going okay so far?
It is, yes. Thank you.
Oh, don't you love Maureen's accent? Isn't it wonderful? The Irish accent is it's very gentle.
Oh. Yeah,
I love
of
your
people
accent.
say that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, I'm so honoured to be speaking to Maureen. She's such a lovely lady and so humble. And
thank you.
The bravest person I've ever spoken to.
I try to be.
Yeah, no, you're brilliant. And it's we're going to have a good conversation about something very, very important, where we certainly need awareness raised with this particular issue. So, Maureen, just describe what your life was like as a young child.
Well, I suppose I'd go back to when I was born. My father died in February, and I was born in the August.
Mm.
So my mother had two boys. I have two brothers. She had two young boys and pregnant on me, so it must have been very, very difficult for her.
Yeah.
And then when she gave birth to me, a priest approached her and told her that she was too young of a widow,
Right.
that she would have to be married. And this was the done thing in them days,
Okay.
I've been told. And he introduced her to my stepfather.
Right.
So my, what you're saying, my mother remarried and went on to have 10 more children after that.
Wow.
Our lives was not good as young children. We were treated very cruelly by our stepfather. My two brothers had very difficult times with them as well.
Yeah.
But mine got worse as I got older. I'd say about 10, 11. I'm not exactly sure, because in them days we didn't really know like our birthdays regular, or we didn't have calendars in the house. The only days that we were 100% sure of was the days we went to school, the weekends because I went out to my grandmother, and Sunday because you went to Mass.
Right.
But in them days, I think families were so poor, we didn't have calendars, and we weren't educated. We didn't come from an educated background. We came from a lot of poverty.
Yeah.
So I'd say around the age of maybe 10 it started, and the abuse and the sexual abuse started getting worse.
Oh.
And I think it was detected when I was about 12.
My goodness.
And a nun here in Carlow detected it and got me to speak, and I opened up to her, and she was always very good to me, always treated me very kindly, gave me clothes, was very good to me. And she got a priest involved in what I had told her. I told her I wasn't able to cope anymore, and that I didn't want to go home. I think in my head I was believing that they would see some way in their hearts to let me go live with my grandmother. But that kind of would have been impossible, because my grandmother was very poor.
Right.
And she wouldn't have had money to keep me all the time. She only was able to keep us on weekends. So anyway, they decided that the best place to send me was to New Ross. to have an education, which there was an industrial school attached to it, and a Magdalene Laundry.
Right.
So I slept in the industrial school for some time, but I never went to school, and I worked in the Magdalene Laundry from the first day that I arrived. They showed me around the place, and they got me up early in the mornings, and they used to take me over under a tunnel up into the Magdalene Laundry, and then in the evenings back. But eventually I ended up sleeping in the Magdalene Laundries. I don't know how long, because you wouldn't know the time there. And we didn't know for years why I didn't get educated. But rather than jumping from one to the other, I suppose I worked in the laundry there for well over a year. Then I was shifted to the nearly 2 years in New Ross. Then I was shifted to the laundry in Athy. And then I was, well, as we call it here now, trafficked. I was trafficked
from
one place to the other. I was trafficked then to the blind school in Merriam in Dublin.
Yeah.
Which was very pleasant, and I have great memories of it. The blind people were very nice. But the reason why I was taken and put in the Magdalene Laundry, and I only found out 3 years ago, was they couldn't have me playing with the other children.
My goodness.
Yeah, because a nun told us this. She said we couldn't have Maureen, they couldn't have Maureen playing with the other children because she might say what was happening to her in the home. So that's why we put her into the laundry to work, and we took her education away from her. She said it was wrong. It was very wrong what we did to you, and I apologise. And we did embrace. The two of us gave each other a hug. She met us in a hotel in Kilkenny.
Wow.
The apology did mean something to me. Did it take away the hurt and the pain and the discrimination towards me, and how they made me feel even smaller than I felt in the home? No, it took none of that away, but it kind of, in another sense, gave me a bit of my life back, because you had different groups. You know, when Magdalene women come together and you start having different groups, and there's a lot of academics come in and they do research. And they were always kind of, again, I had a problem. Oh, well, there's discrepancies in her story.
Oh, dear.
How come she was put in the Magdalene Laundry? Why was she put there at the age of 12?
Yeah.
So it was all this all over again. There was always a problem with it. When we had the McAleese report, and Martin McAleese was interviewing me, and his secretary was writing details down what we were saying, the very minute I come to, people would ask, and there'd be a frown on their face, but why were you there at 12? Oh, I was being abused in the home by my stepfather. And everyone's pens would go down. Nobody wanted to write after that. It was like if they didn't want it. It was one of the stories they did not want this going in history. I think that's why I decided to write a book.
Good for you.
I found that quite a lot with a lot of people. The very minute I mentioned the abuse, it was like if they couldn't handle it, or didn't want to handle it, or there was reasons why they didn't want to handle it. But I got out anyway. In the blind school, my mother came to see me. She came to see me in all the places I was. In the blind home, it was called the Asylum, Blind Asylum.
Right.
That was the name of it. And my shoes was hurting me, and my feet was beginning to get very bad. And I said, you know, I haven't got any shoes that is fitting me. They're too small. And she, well, you know, Maureen, you're working now, and you should be getting paid. And that's how I got out when I asked the nun for my wages. I was give £5 and put on the train in Dublin and sent to Carlow. So that was my journey out of there. My journey in was because I was abused. And I worked all them years, say 4.5 years altogether, for no pay.
Oh, Lord.
No sorry given to you, or no that we've done wrong. We had to fight our case. It was just horrific what we had to go through to explain what happened. The Magdalene Laundry in New Ross, we got up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Dear, oh dear, that's early.
Yeah, first of all, we had to scrub a corridor. If I wasn't scrubbing on that day, I would be the one to dry it, get it dried. Then another girl would come along and put on the polish. And then in the end, we'd all help to get the shine up on the floor. We'd have bits of old blankets under our feet, and we'd get the shine up. That was before you went to Mass. Then you went to your Mass, then you come back, and you had your breakfast, and then you went in to work in the laundry until you were called at dinner time, say about 12. Straight after the Angelus is when you went up for your lunch, for your dinners. They used to call them dinners.
So
then we went back to work in the laundry until 5. And you come out and you have your tea. And then you went to the recreation room, what they call the recreation room, which a lot of people think that going to the recreation room was to have a chat, or maybe watch some old movie, or listen to radio or something. But no, we were making rosary beads. We're all handed a tin with our names on it, and your name is changed when you go there. It's not Maureen anymore, it's Francis.
What's the point in that? What don't understand the
I don't know, there's all different theories for it. They make out they were trying to protect us.
Right.
But we're very confused with that one, because if there were such holy, good people, and there were such wonderful, trustworthy people, why would we have to change our name and not to tell anyone we were there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Exactly.
always told to say we weren't there. You never tell anyone you were here.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I am not sure. I'm not sure why our names was taken off us and our hairs was cut.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, our hairs was cut. And we'd no clothes. Now, we wouldn't have much going there, I'll be honest about it. I wouldn't have had a lot of clothes entering into there. And but I had my books, and I had my new pencil case that my mother bought for me, which I'd never seen from that day to this.
Oh.
And it was very special to me. It was very important, that pencil case, because I never had one. I never had anything like that before, and it was the first time I ever got something like that, and that was taken.
Oh.
Then we, at the recreation at night, that went on till about 8, maybe 9 o'clock, I'm not sure. And then a nun would come and take me back over the corridor when all the girls was asleep. So that nun, that day, was given the apology, had everything right. They did not want me talking to the children. Because when I'd go over in the evenings, the children were asleep. I'd be too tired at that time at night anyway, after doing a day's work, to talk to anybody. And then I was up first in the morning. It would call me first. And back over to the laundry side. So everything was kind of worked out. You were drained, you were tired, you didn't have time to talk to anybody. You couldn't talk to the Magdalene women. Don't talk to them Magdalenes. Then when you were going over to the school, you mustn't talk to the children, you know. It's best not to talk to the children. So, I mean, who was I to talk to?
Yeah.
Then when I moved over to the Magdalene Laundry and slept with them, I mean, not when I moved over to the laundry, because I was there every day working, but when I started sleeping over there, it was up over the laundry. That's where the Magdalene women slept.
Right.
And I eventually started sleeping with them. It was the same routine, up very early in the morning, scrubbing corridors, this very same thing, and working all day, and then your recreation at night doing rosary beads. It all depended on what orders was in from all the holy places like Knock, Lourdes, all these places, Rome, all the little Catholic shops all over the world would be ordering the rosary beads. And we'd have to get, if there was a big order in, we'd be made work very, very hard to get that order out. And then there was orders for Aaron sweaters.
Right.
A lot of them went out to America, and we'd have orders for them. Now, I wasn't the best at them because I found that there was oil or something in the wool, and it used to hurt my hand, and I wasn't the best at it. So they mostly gave me the rosary beads to do. So that was a long, long day of very, very hard work.
Yeah.
On a Saturday, our day was nearly worse. You'd nearly prefer to go into the laundry because the same thing, you get up, you scrub a corridor, and you'd have extra to do because you'd have to clean and sweep the recreation room, which was a big, big room, and then you'd have to wet the floor, the boards over, dry them, and then polish them. Then you go on to Mass, then you come up, have your breakfast, and then you go back to the church, and you clean every single bit of the church, and you'd be at that most of the day. So it was exhausting. The only day that you got a little bit of time to sit around, which wasn't much, would only been about an hour in the evening, because you'd done the nuns' quarters on a Sunday, and you'd have to do their stairs and everything down on the Sunday. So it was always keeping you occupied, that you were doing something all the time. You were working so hard. No such thing as a walk out into the garden, sit in the garden, or nothing.
Oh.
Yeah,
no breaks at all.
Very callous place. No kindness. Not a good word. Nobody allowed to speak to you. You tried to whisper sometimes, but you were terrified that you were going to be caught. There was one lady there, and she got punished for speaking to me because I think she must have had a baby sometime in her life.
Yeah.
And she kept saying, you're my little girl, aren't you? You're my girl.
Oh.
I didn't understand. I was only 12, so I didn't understand. And she said, where do you come from? And I said, Carlo. And she said, oh, they must have taken you to Carlo. I think you're my girl. You're my little girl.
Oh, right.
And God love her when I think back on her now.
Yeah.
And the nun came over and just kept hitting her, pulling a little bit of hair that she had. And, thumping her with her fists into her arms and everything and telling her to stop. So you'd be very frightened to talk. First of all, you didn't want to get anyone into trouble.
Yeah.
See them being treated like that. You'd always make sure after not to speak to them. And I'm sure they were thinking the same. Not to speak to me. They didn't want to get me into trouble. Yeah, it was...
my goodness. Did you ever wonder...
Very, very cruel, very harsh place. No kindness from that. And you know what makes me really sad about it?
Okay.
These nuns were women. When you take off their uniforms,
yeah,
they were women that was abusing other women. And it just sickens me to think of it like that. Why didn't they give us a little bit of kindness or, some little bit of, not even love, but some little bit of kindness would have been nice.
Yeah, we think...
when you were leaving there, you were told, they kept drumming it into you. It'd be like if I was waiting for the car, I'd say about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. There was a car coming to collect me, to take me to the laundry in Athy. And now I didn't know I was going there. They just said Athy. I didn't know where Athy was. So the car which is not all that far from Carlow. It's only about 13 miles from Carlow, where New Ross is about 30, if not more. So when while we're waiting on the car to come, the nun kept saying, you mustn't tell anybody you were here. It's best to never tell anybody you were here. Oh. Now, have you got that? Right, yeah. sister or mother, because we called them mother there,
Mm.
I said, do you think I could have my pencil case back?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't believe that you're still on about that pencil case. You never stopped about that pencil case. And I said, well, it's mine. And it would have cost my mum a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I said, I never had anything like that before. I would really, really love my pencil case back, please.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't answer. She just walked out of the room. And then she'd come back in. You mustn't tell anybody you were here. It's best never to tell anybody that you were here. So, as a young girl, being abused, brought up without your own father,
Yeah.
seeing your mother being downtrodden and abused,
Mm.
you're kind of not too strong out in the world.
Sure.
So you're not strong enough to answer them back.
Yeah.
You're not strong enough to stick up for yourself. So this gets into your head, oh, yeah, it's best not to tell anyone I was there. When I went to a Thai, and even when the Reverend Mother in the Thai said to me, and where are you coming from?
Mm.
Francis. She still had my name changed there. And I said, oh, I can't say. And she smiled, as much as to say, good.
Evil.
We have you brainwashed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when I look back on it all as an adult, I can see the bits. I can see what they were playing at. I can see their cruelty. I see what they were up to. Then, when I left Athy, I went to the blind school in Merriam.
Mm.
And now I have to say, and I always speak the truth, I think it's very important to stick to your truth.
Mm.
The blind people were just amazing people.
Oh.
Of course, as a child, I didn't see blind people before.
Mm.
There was a lovely box of sweets on this lady's locker, and I took one of the sweets, and she was able to tell it was me.
Yeah.
That, I was fascinated.
Mm.
How can you tell it was me? I can tell, she said, I can even tell when you walk into the room.
Oh.
Yeah, and I said, oh, how can you do that? If you can't see, how can you do that?
Yeah.
He said, I can tell by your walk. I can tell by your energy around the place. So I thought, what's that? What does she mean?
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes, I didn't know from years and years after about energy.
All right.
But it always kind of stuck in my head. And she said, we sense things. She said that people that can see, you don't have the same senses as we have. We use senses that you don't use.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah. They taught me how to swim. There's a swimming pool there, and they taught me how to swim.
Oh.
Well, that lady did. She could even tell, because I was terrified of water. I nearly got drowned in Carlow one time at the river, and I was terrified of water. And she'd say, are you in the pool? And I go, yes. No, you're not. And they'd be able to tell. They were just amazing, wonderful people, lovely people.
Oh.
The nuns there wasn't as harsh.
Mm.
They would say good morning to you. I think the first morning that the nuns said good morning to me, I nearly tripped up at the fright.
Yeah, I bet.
I didn't know what was happening, because the other two places were so cold and so harsh. And it was so unusual. I just wasn't used to it.
Mm.
We could talk to the girls. It took me ages to get used to this, and it took me a while that I was able to speak to the blind people. So I was very nervous, and they noticed that the blind people especially, they said, why are you so nervous?
Mm.
And I used to say, well, I can't say. But I was somewhere, and we weren't allowed to talk. And it's lovely that I can talk here.
Yeah.
And where were you? You say, I was too frightened to say.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's pretty cruel stuff.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Somebody that never committed a crime.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, never did anything wrong. A nun noticed at school, she was quite fond of me, and she used to keep an eye on me, and she noticed that I was very pale, and that I wasn't communicating with the other children. When I'd go out to play, I'd sit on my own. And she noticed me getting worse and worse, and she decided to call me into the office and be kind to me. And I told her. So for telling the truth of what happened to me, I got punished and just locked away. And now I know it all. I was locked away in the Magdalene Laundry so that I wouldn't tell anybody else that I was abused.
Dreadful.
And I was very lucky to be there because they were taking me out of the family home so I wouldn't get pregnant.
Right.
And my mother's second marriage was a family unit. We weren't the family unit anymore. We didn't count anymore. It didn't matter what happened to us. It didn't matter how cruel he was. It didn't matter that he was sexually abusing me.
Oh, dear.
That was all covered up. He was a good man to take my mother on with 3 children, and it's best to leave that. And the eldest chap, my brother, he went to Artane because my brother suffered as well. They were getting beatings, terrible beatings, boxed and punched and kicked. So my eldest brother, he went to Artane, and my brother, the other brother, he went out to my grandmother's, and he stayed out there because my grandmother and her brother were very, very poor, and they wouldn't have been able to keep the 3 of us. They wouldn't have been allowed anyway. Definitely wouldn't have been allowed to keep me because I might have told somebody what was going on and why I was living out there with my grandmother. So everything was all to keep me quiet and not talk about the abuse.
Dreadful. It makes it worse. This was done, I mean, that's ordinarily awful, but it makes it worse that all this was in the name of God. I mean, did you wonder, did it taint God for you, or did you think, no, God can't be anything to do with this, surely?
Yes. I often thought when I'd be there, and they'd have big statues on the corridors.
Yeah.
Up on there'd be kind of a pedestal, and then there'd be a great big statue up on it, and for a child that was huge to look up at. And I often did look up at them statues, and I often used to think, well, I don't believe that you're the God. I do not believe that, because if you were God and you cared about all your children, you wouldn't be allowing this place to be. You wouldn't allow a place like that to exist. These people used God to put fear into people.
Disgusting.
To have people terrified. And it's a true saying, you'll always hear the rebel Irish. What I mean by rebel Irish, like the old poor ladies that always say, oh, the church have you from the cradle to the grave. And which was the truth, that have the fear in you. And you would be so frightened that you'd be going to church, giving them nearly everything that you had. Not me. I've never turned out. I've turned out the opposite.
That's good.
But I see a lot of people used to do that. I think it's dying out a little bit now.
Yeah.
But yes, what you're saying to answer your question, yeah, you're right. In the name of God, they've done all this cruelty. I mean, Artane and all the industrial schools, abuse, and horrific sexual abuse. Only bits of it come out, and it's still coming out in Ireland. There is more to be written about in Ireland. That's coming up, I think, around next year, the end of this year, next year.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a lot more to come out.
Do you think people have they got their head in the sand, or do they just, are they in complete denial of, don't know, what is the case there? Are they...
This is the amazing part of it. This is the part that kind of got me a little bit. When I was talking about my story, and I was trying to get Magdalene women to come forward and hoping that if they hear one on the radio, that more would ring in and we'd be able to come together, and which did happen. It did. It worked. But loads of girls come up to me, women come up to me in Carlow Town, and they said, "Oh, we were listening to you on the radio."
Yeah.
And, oh my God, when I think about when we went to school, just because we were poor, we were put into the back of the class, and the rich girls was brought down the front.
Oh.
And I said, "Oh yeah," I said, "That's right." I said, "I've heard a lot of people complain about that, because anyone that owned the shop, or if their parents was rich, was always in the front seats, and the poor children, we were all put at the back."
Oh dear.
And you would know it, you'd feel it.
Yeah.
And the talk was, they'd never say, "Oh gosh, the Magdalene Laundries, they must have been horrible." It's like, well, it didn't happen to me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to you. God, yeah. Did that really happen, like? Well, of course it really happened. Yes, these Magdalene Laundries did exist. They are there. You can go visit them.
Right.
You know, go in and see one. Go and investigate. But not, do they live with their head in the sand? Yeah, I think they do. I don't think they can face, we believed in this church all our lives. We trusted these people. We put them on pedestals.
Yeah.
And my mother believed in the church. We can't allow this to be said, "Oh my God, we look so silly. This is stupid. Oh my God, this is coming out. This is awful." You'll hear people say it. "This is awful. What the church done. This cover-up is terrible."
Yeah.
Then you get other people who will say, "Well, they were left with this big problem. There was unmarried girls. Girls got pregnant. And the church was left with this problem." And I said, well, my answer to that is today, they handled it very well for themselves. They took these women's babies off of them. They took them off the street in the name of God, and then they put them into Magdalene Laundries to slave for them. And they took their children and sold them out to America.
Right.
My cousin was sold out to America for $10,000.
Oh, dear.
So they were making money left, right, and centre. And nobody wants to take a look at that. They don't want to take a look at the bigger picture. It was all about money.
It's disgusting,
and then,
isn't it?
if they wanted to have sex with you and sexually abuse you, who was going to question it?
Yeah.
Who would question a priest? Who
Yeah.
would question a Christian brother? And who would question a nun? Now, never did I see any sexual abuse in New Ross where I was, or nothing like that happened to me there.
That's good.
I never seen anything like that in Athy, or nothing like that happened to me there either. Or in the blind school in Miriam, I never seen any sexual abuse going on, but I've heard of women that some of the women were sexually abused in it by women.
That's
Now,
awful.
I never seen it. Nothing like that ever happened to me. I do know
That's
that
good.
the nuns used to watch us in through the keyhole. If
Oh.
we were bathing or in brushing our teeth or anything, they would be spying on us.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Pervy, as in...
Sorry. And then if we were getting dressed in the morning, a nun would slowly walk up and down, and maybe two in the dormitories would walk up and down, and they would watch you and laugh and make fun of you and pass remarks on you.
Horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Just to
But
humiliate you.
anything worse than that, no. I didn't see anything like that happen. I've heard it did, but I didn't see it.
It's still very humiliating, though, isn't it? Even that, it's
It is
just
very humiliating.
horrible.
It's awful. I asked one day in New Ross, the little girls was out playing out at the industrial school. And I was going out the back because I had wet the bed.
Yeah.
And I was out the back with the mattress on my back, kind of shoving it along, dragging it along to get it dry. And the fresh air would get at it, so that way it wouldn't smell or anything. And I was out the back, and I said, it was a lovely day. And I said to two of the nuns, I said, Mother, do you think I could play with the other little children for a little while?
Yeah.
and they looked me up and down and whispered about me and made fun of me and said, no, you can't play with the other children. Get your mattress upstairs now and get back to work.
There's hearts of stone, just no feeling whatsoever.
No feelings, very harsh, very cold. And I wonder, where did they get that from? Where did that come from?
Well, it makes
How could it treat you like that?
It makes you wonder if some people do go into that line of things who are by nature narcissistic and they can take out their narcissism.
I think so. I totally agree with you, because I talk to people today and I talk about the health problems here in Ireland, the HSE, and they tell you at the top, they said the coldness, the bullying, and the cruelness that goes on, and it's the same thing. Power. I think power sometimes destroys people.
Yes, absolutely.
I do. I think like Tusla here, it's over children. The head guy that was in charge of him is being caught looking at porn, of children porn.
Ooh.
Yeah, and all these things is going on in Ireland because it's power. Once to get to the top, they have too much power, and either goes to their head, they feel they can do what they like. There's no accountability. Nobody is held accountable. The church was supposed to hand over so much money for survivors.
Yeah.
They only handed over a certain amount, and then the people that was put in charge of it mislaid a lot of the money. They call it mislaid here.
Right.
If they went out and had posh lunches and stayed in hotels and everything, it's called mislaid. Mislaid money. Yeah.
Horrid. Did anyone...
Everyone thinks that we got money, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you got money, didn't you? Well, we got a bit of money, but, I'd rather have my life back.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I would have rather have my education. I would rather have been looked at as a human being the way everybody else was looked at.
Yeah.
Not to have to go to the streets of England and of London and go in to look for a job and ask you, which is the normal questions to ask you, is where did you finish your schooling? You'd have to forget about it and just walk away. And you'd have to take every dirt job going to survive.
Yeah.
Squatting at night, sleeping in parks, going down alleyways, outside restaurants to see if you can get a bit of food to stay alive.
How awful. Absolutely disgusting.
Just awful. And I mean, all that life that I had in London when I first went there was through being in these Magdalene institutions.
Yeah.
Because I was sent out into the world feeling very bad about myself.
Of course, yeah.
That I caused all the trouble. It wasn't my stepfather's fault, it was me. You feel dirty about yourself.
Yeah.
You don't feel nothing nice or nothing good about you at all. You feel just rotten.
Yeah.
And that's the way I was on the streets of London. I could have went in and got hooked on drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks to the higher power that I didn't.
Yeah.
I always said the ancestors, I think the ancestors was looking after me. I did go on drink a bit, but couldn't handle it. I used to get sick. Went to a doctor and I said, I always get sick after drink. And he said, yeah, you have a bit of allergic reaction. So he said, you have the good news for you. You won't end up an alcoholic. I said, and I was very disappointed.
All right.
At the time, I'm grateful now for it. I'm grateful. But at the time, I was very disappointed because I needed the drink to hide and cover the pain that I was in.
Of course.
Yeah. But thanks to the English people and my journey in England, I came out the other side. And it was English people that encouraged me to do something with my life without them even knowing what had happened to me. They didn't know about Magdalene Laundries. They didn't know I was in one. They didn't know what happened in my life. Just that I came from a poor background from Ireland.
Yeah.
And they were very kind to me. And that bit of kindness got me stepping up a ladder.
Brilliant. Did you start to realise then that all these things you'd been almost programmed to believe weren't true, that you were a worthy person, you were, you know, you are brilliant. We think you're...
Yeah, I own my own home today.
Brilliant. Oh, wonderful. That's,
Thanks to being in England. I can't say thanks. I feel bad about this because I love the land in Ireland, the landscapes and everything. It's beautiful. And there's a lot of good people here. But I can't say thank you to Ireland for where I am today. I have to say thanks to England. And I think a lot of the Irish people today, we have to say that thanks to England. Even for the men that went over years ago, had no education, and they went on the building sites. Some of them made it, some of them didn't. And especially the ones out of the industrial schools, a lot of them died.
Oh, right.
Yeah, a lot of them died in England. They became alcoholics.
Yeah.
Then some of them that did get a bit of education and went and got further education was able to do good for themselves, get their own homes, get money together and come back here when houses was cheap and bought their own homes. So there is the good stories.
Yeah, it's a shame you have to go through all that.
Some people had good endings.
Yeah, that's what. Well, you're certainly, success at the end. It's horrible. Like we were saying the other day, why do bad things happen to good people? I mean, you are so lovely, and it's just heartbreaking that, Yeah, I think it's the cover up. You see, that's where it all starts from. Is the cover up of child abuse. It's still going on here. It's awful.
It's still being covered up here. For some reason, Ireland cannot deal with child abuse. They're not able to deal with it. They're able to give it out.
Yeah.
They're able to catch the perpetrators. But can they speak about it? Can they have programs about it? No. They can't.
Is it the religiousness? Is it the whole Catholicism thing that makes it so...
I think yes. Yes. I think it's something got to do with it. I do believe that. Definitely.
It's so ungodly, isn't it? It's just surreal.
It is.
It's not just
hard
evil.
to believe. And, I mean, we have our Taoiseach, our past Taoiseach, Enda Kenny, going all over the world. His apology went all over the world to the Magdalene women.
Right.
And yet we were left short of the money that we were supposed to get for being in the Magdalene Laundry. And his apology came over so lovely. So the world seen him apologising, but they don't know what went on in the background. And we were supposed to get medical cards that we wouldn't have to wait for appointments, and that if we needed any services, that we could go in and have them. Not true.
Oh, right.
That is not true. And the majority of the Magdalene women, nearly all of them, had a medical card anyway. So they didn't come out and tell the truth. They made themselves look really, really good. We're trying to get a meeting at the moment with the Minister for Justice.
Right, yeah.
To ask him what has really happened to our medical card. We're told we have an A card, which we were supposed to get. The only difference that we get on that, because we're old age pensioners, the majority of us, and we were always able to get a certain amount on our cards. That's the same. The only thing has changed. If you're on medication, you don't have to pay the $2.50 for your prescription.
All right. Oh.
That's the only difference. That's all we get on that card. If we ask for anything else on that card, we don't get it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we're looking into that at the moment, and we're not going to let it drop.
We're
going
good.
We'll meet up with the Minister for Justice, Mr. Flanagan, I think is his name, and because he made a statement that any Magdalene woman that wanted to talk to him, that he was always there and that he would listen to us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens, because we've got no trust or no faith in that.
Yeah,
They're
of course.
words in front of a camera that everybody can hear them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then when they're off of that camera, it's completely different.
Let's hope it sticks to the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
It's just tragic, isn't it? It's like a bad dream. It's like a nightmare. Just the whole thing, really.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know.
a lot of Magdalene women are lately, a few of us have talked to each other. Do we feel comfortable going into hospital if something happens to us? The hospital here are run by the church.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so do we feel comfortable going in?
Whew.
Yeah, I don't.
No.
No, I don't. So now a lot of us have that worry. Now, there's been no complaints so far, or maybe we haven't heard anything. We're not sure.
Yeah.
If we have to go into an old folks' home, they're all run by the church. Are we going to be treated right in there? What way are we going to be treated when they find out who we are?
Oh.
Nah, she's one of them Magdalenes. Especially me. That's that one that started it all. She was on the radio and got them all coming together.
Oh, yeah, of course. There's no getting away from it.
Yeah, you don't get away from it. And I've just said it to my son the other day. I said, oh, God, I hope I can keep in good health. I said that, and if something happens to me, please, if I have to go into a home, if I got a stroke, God forbid, or anything, please keep a check on me.
Yeah.
I said, because I think they will try and do away with me.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, I put nothing past them.
Oh.
No, I put nothing past them. I would not trust them. I do not trust them. So now we have that worry. So it's not going to leave us.
No.
We take this with us to our grave.
I think you need to come here to England.
The only thing I'm not taking to my grave is they are not going to make me feel bad about myself.
No.
They are not going to do that to me anymore.
No.
Yeah, and I'm not taking that with me, and it will not be a Catholic funeral.
Yes.
I'm going to go with dignity. I'll go with a nature funeral or a Druid funeral. I'd say more than likely it'll be Druid.
Yeah. Good on you.
And I hope that, I'm hoping that I'll go in peace, but I'm not going with their fear. I'm not taking their fear with me.
No. Definitely not. Do you know, I saw a quote on Facebook the other day, and I thought of you and just, the whole awfulness about it. And it said, a religious person will do what he is told, no matter what is right, whereas a spiritual person will do what is right, no matter what he is told.
Yes, that's good.
That's good, isn't it?
That is good. Would you text that on to me sometime when you get a chance?
Yeah, I will.
That's very good. I must bring that to the next gathering. That is lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
I was just listening to Joe Duffy yesterday, and these people were preaching up in Dublin. These Catholic people were preaching up in Dublin.
Yeah.
And I mean, I often see, and I speak with Catholic, and I pal with Catholic people. And I don't have a problem. I just tell them, look, I'm not Catholic, I'm a Druid, and they ask you questions. They're very nice people.
Yeah.
There's good and bad everywhere. There was this guy preaching up in Dublin yesterday. The woman came on the radio, and they were giving out free ice cream to children.
Right.
And her son got the free ice cream, and they handed him a little, like a comic.
Yeah.
And they have in the comic that to be is gay or lesbian is a sin.
Oh, here we go. Really?
Yeah. And that it's not right, and it's against nature, and all this horrible stuff. And this mother, fair play to her, is brilliant. And she rang up to Joe Duffy. I mean, Joe Duffy's our lifeline here in Ireland. It's the only radio station you can ring up and give off what's happening to you.
Yeah.
And, of course, Joe has to be very careful what we're allowed to say on it.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can't really speak your full mind. But this woman came on, and she says, I am horrified. She said, I don't want my son to grow up disliking gay people. I don't want that, she said, for my child. I want my child to walk on the land, she said, and have nothing against anybody. And she said, how dare he come up, she says, and give free ice cream to children and then hand them this awful comic. It was like a comic book.
Yeah.
And the little boy just said, he says, oh, why is gays not nice people?
Yeah.
What's gays, Ma? And that's when she took the comic off him and started to read it. So she's highlighted it, and they've been shown up for it.
Oh, good.
So little things like that are changing here. It's slow. It's very slow.
Yeah. It's grooming, though, isn't it? It's kind of like a child groomer saying, you know, come into my car because I've got Haribo.
Of course. It's building hatred into children.
Yeah.
It's awful. And that should have been gone a long, long time ago. Like, in the laundries, when I was told not to speak to the children, I was different.
It's horrid.
We don't want her telling the other children what happened to her.
Yeah.
She might. I mean, who'd want to tell the children that anyway?
But
I mean, I probably more than likely would never have said it.
No. But it's the whole thing of you not being... I mean, like, of all people, you would want to talk. You would want to offload. And to have this horrible thing happen, and on top of that, you've got further punishment by you're not allowed to speak.
Yeah, I was the one that was punished.
Disgusting.
Yeah. And might be punished again, and still punished to this day, because his children now are hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't want me around. They want me shut up and don't be saying this, and it's okay, we know what happened to you, we know. But don't let anybody else know. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So it goes on and on. Where if this had been sorted years ago, and the truth brought out, and the proper person punished, the wrong that they had done to an innocent child, we would have none of this today.
Yeah.
So there's what the cover-up brings to your door.
But it is, isn't it? That it's a domino effect. It's horrible.
Yeah, it goes on and on and on, and then it goes with you to your grave. You take all that pain with you, all that memories come with it to the last day, because it wasn't solved or dealt with in the first place.
No. And the lesson still isn't learned, is it? They haven't learned anything by it.
No. And it's still happening today here in Ireland. I've heard of loads of people that if they go about child abuse or sexual abuse in the home, well, okay, we'll deal with it, we'll talk to you, we'll sort this out. It's best not to say anything outside. That's just outside of the home. Don't be telling people.
Oh, I'm so
it's still
sorry.
being covered up.
I'm so sorry. Oh, Maureen, I really do feel for you. Do you know, this 55 minutes has gone to... Maybe we can do a part 2. Can we do a part 2?
Well, if you get a good feedback on that, we can.
Yeah. I'm sorry, because we could, talk a lot more about this. There's been other things.
So that's why I'm doing my book.
Yes. Sorry, we've got about... hang on, we've got about 2 minutes, quickly. Yes, so your book is in the process of being published?
My book is in the process of being written at the moment, and it's The Girl in the Tunnel.
Girl in the Tunnel, right.
Yeah.
So when that's out there, we'll try and promote that for you, which would be good.
That's lovely. Yeah, well, you see, they used to hide me in the tunnel when the men with the suits would come. I'm not sure who they were. I've been told they were inspectors.
Right.
But I don't know. For sure, I don't know. I was never told who they were.
So much mystery, all round, so much mystery.
Yeah, so I'd be locked in the tunnel, and I'd have to stay there, and then the nun would come back down, and she'd take me out. Could be an hour, could be one day they forgot about me, and left me there all day.
Disgusting.
Yeah, so that's why we're calling The Girl in the Tunnel.
Oh, we look forward to reading it.
And people used to ask about me. They said, there's a girl in they put her in the tunnel. There's this girl, and they do hide her in the tunnel. So that's why we said we'd call it The Girl in the Tunnel.
Brilliant. We look forward to reading that. Thank you, Maureen, so much for being on the show. and sharing your
Thank you
story with
so
us.
much. Bless you.
What a remarkable woman you are, as I'm sure the audience will agree. And to the audience, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, lots of love and God bless.